Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday. I hope everybody had a great weekend and, tried to stay out of some trouble there. I made my way last weekend, or this weekend, through Death Valley and got to see the desert super bloom. It's actually a rare event where all the plants are blooming at the same time, so that was kind of fun. Stopped in Vegas on the way as well, because it's a drive for me, and sadly didn't win anything, so nothing too big. So this week, as far as Monday goes, we are going to talk about value setting. And I thought this quote was really spot on. Value selling is one of my favorite things when it comes to insurance. It really helps increase that close rate. It really sets aside the good salespeople versus the average. So with this quote, it says, always provide value. Value builds trust. Once you have that trust, you have the ability to do some selling. I think this is extremely important. For those that want to close high, you really have to do value in insurance because it's not a tangible item. It is not something that they can physically hold in their hand. And since you're doing intangible sales, you really have to spend more time doing that value selling. So, Motivation Monday. Again, I don't think there's anybody too new here on the call, but here's the layout that we follow through. We're going to start with the tip of the week. We're going to quickly review last week's because I got a lot of people that reached out to me about that. We're going to go into usually a product or system tip as well, and then we're going to end in the sales technique, which is that value selling. So as far as last week's tips go, it was the Aetna Open Choice PPO where NHIC gave us the real claims data for that, and it is an average discount around 52%. So their savings on that Aetna Open Choice PPO plan on NHIC short term is huge. It's 52%. So use that when you're selling and talking to customers. And then the second is how to pull your own reports in E123, which is NHIC's back office. And just to keep in mind, that is under the customer area and the summary. So this week we were going to talk about, as far as the tips go, what are the prime business states? I want to take a look at maybe helping agents expand where they are selling, help maybe purchase leads in a different state, expand what they're taking a look at there. So we're going to start this week by taking a look at where the majority of the major medical business is sold, and then hopefully next week we're going to be able to take a look at the short term. I'm working on getting those numbers pulled for us. I know a lot of agents, it seems like we're working with either 1 or 2 states, or we're selling in 30 plus states. But depending on where you want to be, these are some quick hitters where we're doing a majority of our business. And I'm also going to add here how much it costs to get licensed in those states. So it shouldn't take us super long to go through. First off, California is about 6.5% of our business here. And to get licensed in California, it's around $170. The second state there is Georgia. Surprising, 5.1% of sales. Just to let you know, these are in alphabetical order. There's some big hitters at the bottom as well. And it costs about $115 there. And then it's Missouri with 4.5% of sales. It takes about $100 there. Ohio is 3.9. It's a cheap state to get licensed in. It's about $20. So if you're looking to expand your portfolio, we do a lot of business there in Ohio, and it is only 3.9% of sales. Texas is our biggest. It's 7.1% of sales, and it costs only $50. So take a look at it if that's something you want. I know you can contact agency services there. They'll definitely help you figure out what products are available in these states and then also how to go through that licensing. And the last one is Virginia. Again, it's about a 3.9, and it's another cheap state. So those bottom 3 are states to really take a look at if you want to spend a little bit of money and get a big return. Really, $20, $50, $30 to open up your portfolio, maybe take a look at getting some leads in those states. I think it could help out a lot. So the second tip of the week, since it seems like I'm keeping on doing 2 here, is really how to use the AHCPsales.com website. It seems kind of silly, but I get a lot of questions on it, and I really want to make sure that people are knowing where some of these resources are, especially if you're thinking about expanding your own personal portfolio. AHCPsales.com will let you know other carriers. So if you have not done so yet, the first thing you really need to do is create your AHCPsales.com account. A big reminder when you're creating that account is that it will send you a confirmation email that you will need to click, or your account does not work. It's a question we get here a lot is, hey, I created my account, it's not working. Well, did you go to that confirmation email and click it? So first thing, just start off the bat. When you log in, the big area to take a look at is there across the top. There's 2 areas that myself personally that I spend a lot of time on, and it's the training area and the carrier area, which we will quickly take a look at here. So the first one is going to be the training area. So we put a lot of time into the training. We want to make sure that you guys have those things available at your fingertips. So if you click on training, there will be a calendar which will let you know upcoming training events. All the Motivational Mondays are on there, and any additional carriers that we can come talk to do the webinars will get on there. And then also there's a button that says pre-recorded training library. Click on that and you will find all the old Motivational Mondays are on there, as well as products. So if you want to learn more about, you can see in the picture there, the AHCP. You can click on those. Their videos are usually about 5 to 8 minutes long, and you can learn about that product information for you. The other area is our carriers. This one is more important if you are looking at selling in other states, because you can click on these, you can see the brochures, you can see what products there are. You can also contact agency services. They'll help you figure out what products are available in the states that you are potentially looking at selling. So you can choose which one of these companies you actually want to get appointed with. Just for the example today, we are going to jump through the NHIC. It's the first one in the upper left. I thought that would be the easiest, just to take a look at what's in each one of these carrier pages. So when you get into it, this is kind of what it looks like. They are all set up the same, so if you can understand one, you'll really understand them all. On the left-hand side here, the first thing you will see is that what products this company has. So with NHIC, it's AD&D, AME, critical illness, short-term medical as well. In the upper right-hand corner, there is the appointment paperwork. So hey, you know what, I actually want to sell this product. How do I get appointed? There it is. There's also information a little further down at how the commissions work as well. That seems like a fairly popular question. Lower left-hand side is usually where any brochures are, any current sales incentives that are going on. You should take a look at those. We'll go through some sales incentives next week of what's out there. And then any paperwork that you may need to fill out. And then there's also information on the back office and any quoting and submitting new business. Of course, if you ever have a question on those back offices or quoting and submitting, you can reach out to training@ahcpsales.com. We are more than happy to help you with that. But just to let you know that those are available at your fingertips. And now we're going to take a look at the trends. So just to let you know, another great week sales-wise. So really big kudos to everybody. We are already at the point where we were last year for sales numbers for this month. So we still have 4 days left. Of course, that doesn't include the weekend too. So if anybody sold over the weekend. So really there's 6 days that we are missing there. So keep selling strong. We are meeting where we were last month. So again, major medical has decreased. Nothing we are super surprised by. You're probably thinking, didn't we just take a look at the major medical numbers? The reasons why we took a look at what states we are selling major medical is what agents are doing is that they are creating that total package. They are selling those ancillary products with it. So just want to make sure that you have an idea of what is being sold, what states those are being sold in the most. Again, the major medicals, they're decreasing. The QLEs, they're coming out of the woodwork though, which is nice. I've had a lot of questions last week on QLEs, so feel free to reach out if you have any questions on those or those qualified life events. Short term, there's an increase of 40% sales in short term. That is huge, so good job everybody. We're having a big increase there. The guaranteed issue is still about 5% of our total sales. It's been consistent with that since open enrollment ended. So I kind of think that's what our running rate is. So take a look at yourself. Is your guaranteed issue short term is about 5% as well. There was no change in the accident. Actually, there was. It was about, I think, 5 policies up again. Not super huge. But you guys took a look at those time insurance company plan enhancers and you sold them. We had about 100% increase, so twice as many of those plan enhancers sold with those cancer, heart, and stroke or sickness riders. I had a few people reach out with questions on those, so feel free. Critical illness had a 10% increase as well. So we kind of talked about how that was going around. And the sales were going down, but it looks like we're ticking back up. Again, the big one is Colorado Bankers Life. If you are not appointed with them, please reach out to agency services. You're missing out on a lot of money. Please don't leave cash on the table. And then dental, we had huge growth as well, so about a 35% increase. I'm starting to see some time insurance company dental come through as well, but it does look like star mount has slowed down, so not exactly sure why. If there's something out there with the star mount that I should know about, reach out, let me know. Keep me in the loop as well, but I haven't really heard too much, but it looks like it just ticked down a bit. So again, really good sales week last week. That is phenomenal to hear. And these are just kind of some of the trends. So last week, as far as it goes, we talked about brand and being your own brand. There's a lot of good conversations that happen because of that. And I hope that you really reached out and you took a look at those sites that I sent you. If you were one of those people who contacted me. Again, if you have more questions, please let me know. So this week's sales technique is very much in relation to brand. It has to do with how you carry out your business of selling. In all my years of selling and sales management and sales training, the one thing that all my best salespeople had in common is that they sold off value instead of price. Well, what does that mean? Well, it really means that you're selling off the product features, the way the product fixes your client's problem instead of just the plain dollar amount. Don't get me wrong, you can sell off of price. I've had a lot of agents do it. It seems like when they're brand new, everybody just sells off of price. Hey, you want something under $100, here you go. But then they always contact me and say, hey, you know what? All my policies are dropping off the books and I have no idea why. It's because you're not building the value in. They don't care about the product. You just give them a number, and the second they don't need it, they drop. So when all things are equal, and I mean completely equal in sales, that's when price matters. But if things are not equal, you'd be very, very surprised. We know with health insurance that there's, that big out-of-pocket max, how prescriptions are handled, ER copays, urgent care copays, association benefits, networks, and so much more. So knowing that, saying that all things are equal, that's when price really matters. You know what? Things are not going to be equal very often in our industry. So selling off value instead of price is honestly not a beginning sales technique, but it is very, very powerful. You do need to have a really good grasp on the customer's why, and then also the why we do the value selling instead of price. And so this is going to take some creativity on your part, but I'm going to give you some examples that I've done in the past. I've had agents do in the past to do big, huge impacts, but this is going to be kind of a theory conversation where you can think about how you're going to apply it to yourself. So first quick note, it's about price, really, really, really. Price is the easiest to duplicate, service isn't. Whenever you take a look up or start talking about value selling, the biggest reason you don't sell on price is because it's the easiest thing for your competition to duplicate, and they cannot duplicate your service. Toughest to duplicate, extraordinary quality services, convenience, and value. Think about it with major medical, short-term, ancillary products. These products are all fixed prices. We all sell the exact same price in the exact same insurance scene. So why should they work with you over somebody else? Again, they can call up somebody else and get that price. One thing to keep in mind too is the power of the internet. With almost any carrier, the client can now go and purchase the product directly themselves, cutting out that salesperson. Why are they talking to you? Why are they not online? Guaranteed, most people, when they come and talk to you, they've already tried it online themselves and they have failed. So again, price is the easiest to duplicate. Another thing is price doesn't keep your clients coming back. Price-driven customers lean towards lower retention, period. Usually fewer policies sold and fewer referrals. Yes, you should sell a customer if they call up and say, hey, you know what, I want a policy for $500. I saw it online. This is exactly it. Here's my deductible. Here's the out-of-pocket max, and this is how it handles my prescriptions. Sell that person. Bam, done, easy. But for your everyday ordinary customers, price will not keep them coming back. They will only keep it until they need it, and then they will drop it. Instead of if you build value, they see why they should keep it. So what is sales? Sales is fixing somebody's problem with your solution. In the value sales environment, you'll spend time learning what their real problem is so you can fix it. So you build in the idea of this is what you need. Here's how it's going to work before you ever give them a dollar amount. One of the biggest things with value selling is that you hold the dollar amount to the very end. The customer really just wants how much it's going to cost, and then they're going to quit listening to you. In sales, that's exactly what happens. They say, you know what, I want to spend $100, and then they're waiting for you to say how much it comes in. If you can hold how much it is to the very end, they will actually listen to you through a lot of your sales presentation. If you start with, this is a $98 policy and let me tell you how it works. Guess what? They're done listening to you. They've already heard what the cost is. So with value selling, one of the biggest things is, yes, you are fixing their problems. You are going to explain how you're going to fix the problems before you give them a dollar amount. And in all honesty, some people will buy off of price because the agent has left them with no choice. They don't understand the product. They don't understand the value. So they're just going to buy off of price. You know, they don't understand insurance. Let's be honest. When a lot of us got into insurance, unless your family does it, which I lucked out because, you know, I have an uncle who's an insurance agent. My father's done insurance. So I understood it. But a lot of people don't understand, hey, deductible, co-insurance, out-of-pocket max. What is a tiered prescriptions? How does that work? So what they'll do is they'll just say, hey, you know what? I know this is exactly what my budget is, and I'm just going to buy it. And then when the big what if happens, when they actually have to use it, it's not what they need. So really, if your client is buying off of price, a lot of them is because they just don't understand how the product works, and the agent didn't do a good job painting that example for them. So really, do what you're good at, but sell them through examples and paint that clear picture. So let's jump into the steps you can actually take. Now we kind of covered the why, that we don't sell off of price, because I get that all the time with new agents is, I sell off of price and it goes fine. It's going to go fine for a little while, but you know what, honestly, your numbers are going to fall. And then you're going to call me up saying, hey, how I can fix that. But you know what, the hard part is you already learned bad habits. So let's start talking about the value and how we can actually do it. So the whole value selling process, which again, it's honestly best for insurance salespeople, starts really early on when you're talking to a client. I'll tell you, I do my introduction. I think I told you earlier that I'm going to walk them through how I am going to sell them and also let them know that, hey, guess what, I'm going to close you. I also say, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask you a few questions about your current insurance situation and what you're going to expect out of a plan. And then from there, what we're going to do is we're going to create a plan. We can make any changes that you need. And as long as you like what you hear, we can go ahead and get you applied for that today. So I'd let them know right up front, guess what? I'm going to ask you questions. Flat out, I need to do some fact finding with you. And you cannot do value selling without spending the time to know the problem. And as I mentioned earlier in the month, you should be spending honestly about 60 to 70% of your call in the fact finding. And fact finding includes getting a budget. People hate talking about money, but guess what? It's going to have to happen. So things in your fact finding that you should be including are, what are their current insurance situation? What about the plans that they have seen have they not liked? You want to bring out their bad experiences with other products because that's going to let you know what didn't work. So you're not going to make that mistake again. Also, the nice thing is that you can use it to tie back to the product you're presenting later. Hey, guess what? This product didn't work for this. Well, the one that I'm going to work on you with will. So really what you're looking for in your fact finding is you're looking for consumption and stories that you can talk to later when you are presenting the product. Value selling is selling the picture. The fact finding is how you're going to get that picture, how you're going to be able to paint that picture. So if you find out someone's husband went to the hospital because they were painting and fell and broke their leg, use it. If you know someone has a chronic condition, use it. You want to be able to explain it in terms that they understand. Really, honestly, value selling is just taking a complex situation and making it understandable for the client. Now, with fact finding and value selling, you do need to find their budget. Before you can talk about what the product does, you want to spend all your time collecting this information. Really, you want to get the why they're calling, the consumption, how they're going to use the product, when they want the product to start, and exactly how much do they want to spend. A lot of people, you'd be surprised, they have sat down, they have run their own numbers. When they come in and say, you know what, I don't know how much I want to spend, oh, I have a feeling that's going to be a lie. Budget can be something that you can fight to get out of a client. I know one of my favorite little tips was always, I'd throw out just a horrible number for them that would be kind of shocking. Say, you know, I have no idea how much I want to spend. I just want it to be affordable. Well, what's affordable to you? Well, I don't know. Is $3,000 affordable to you? And usually that shock knocks them off their keister. And then they're more willing to work with you because if they say, hey, $3,000, is that what it costs? Well, no, but I need to know what your budget is so I can stick within it. Another thing about value selling is you have to understand again, as I said, what about the previous products they did not like? You need to understand their buying habits, what they bought and why they dropped it. Why are they calling you? So maybe, yeah, they have insurance right now, but they hate it. Why? Why are they calling you? What is the whole point? If you fix a problem, first off, you're going to have better retention, but they're also going to tell their friends and families. So they have an issue, you fix it, everything's great. When they're sitting down to Thanksgiving dinner, and it gets that really awkward conversations that sometimes happen with families, guess what? This will come out. And as I said, really try to draw out on that bad through the previous customers they didn't like. One thing too with value selling is before you even talk about the product, you have to get them to agree on what they are looking for. So first you have to do some fact finding, make sure that they know what it is. Where is that budget going to be? When do they want the product to start? What they didn't like. So kind of bring out what the negatives were beforehand. But then you have to get them to really agree on what it is. So to paint that value, you want to make sure you're not missing the mark, right? So one thing to do is go through everything you learned about the client and get them to agree on. So you called me because of this. So you kind of go through the why. So you called me because you've lost insurance due to your job and that you've been accident prone in the past and you see the value in insurance, correct? Great. You dropped your previous plan that you bought because you found out that the out-of-pocket max was too big and you didn't have that money saved up, right? And so you're looking for a plan that basically fixes their problem under their budget and is going to start this day, right? So I have them go through and I have them basically repeat everything that I learned about them. And you're like, well, that's kind of annoying. We've done that before. Yeah, but you just had this long, 60% of your sale conversation with your client. You want to bring everything up that's important to the front of their mind before you start talking about the product. You want to have the reason why they're calling, what they need on the front of their mind so you can explain how it works, or they're going to be lost in their own thoughts. Really what you're doing is saying, hey, guess what? Here's everything. Here's all your issues. This is how I'm going to fix it. Just sit back, relax, enjoy the ride. It's going to happen. So again, you want to do the big what ifs. Another thing too that I've noticed when people are getting them to kind of agree what they are looking for is that the agents talk a lot about themselves. Yes, you want to make it relatable. Yes, you want to make it fun. They don't care about you. I mean, it sounds really, really bad. They care about you as a person, but when you tell them their stories, that disconnects the conversation from them. Everybody wants to know what's in it for me with them. What's in it for me, honestly. So then you have to really spend your time, if you go through solid fact finding, fixing their problem. That's the most important part of value selling is fixing their problem and painting a picture. Every time you do this, you should at least say, well, earlier you told me what. That should happen twice in every product presentation that you're doing, no matter what. Earlier you told me, because the second you say, hey, earlier you told me, it's like, hey, this is about me. I'm going to pay attention. When you're throwing insurance lingo around, people seem to disassociate a little bit. So again, tying it back to them. Earlier you told me this. Earlier you told me that unfortunately your mother had breast cancer and that was something that greatly affected you, and you saw how the insurance bills worked with her. Well, the out-of-pocket max on this plan is $3,000. So if that big what if happens, you want to paint that picture. You want to make it relatable. I mean, yes, you want to walk through all the benefits, but you want to make it something that they can relate to. Another thing when it comes to talking about those plans, I mean, yes, we realistically know what hospital bills cost, but if I try to walk through, hey, here's a $30,000 hospital bill, this is how a plan's going to work, that's kind of a weird number to work through. Try to use happy, even, large numbers with your clients, especially when you're walking through the value selling and trying to paint that picture, because it's easier for them to understand. Hey, if you get in a $100,000 accident, that's pretty extreme. $100,000, not everybody has that laying around. They're going to pay attention. That's it's gonna give them a little shock and gonna rumble them a little bit, and then you say, whoa, $100,000, no, and they will start paying attention. Again, so you really want to say, hey, earlier you told me, that's gonna paint the value, that's gonna have them start listening to what their product is. You need to tell stories about their family, about them, and the only way to do that is to get them through solid fact finding. And again, the most important thing really with value selling is just getting the customer to tell you what they need, and that is at the beginning. A value selling is saying, hey, this is what I need. This is how I'm going to use it. And you say, hey, I agree. This is what you need. and this is how you're going to use it, and this is how it is going to help you. That's really all value selling is. And it seems kind of silly. It seems kind of easy. It's not. Honestly, it's not. If you could master it down, I will tell you the close rates on that, it will skyrocket. It will honestly skyrocket instead of just picking up the phone. How much do you want to spend? Okay, I have this really awesome plan for you. This is exactly how it works. No. They're just going to remember, hey, I'm paying $188 a month, and then the second they don't need it, it's gone. But if you paint that value to them, if you paint that picture, when the insurance is coming up to term, they're going to think, what happened is Dan explained to me that if I break my leg, this is really going to help financial security for me. This is going to make sure my family is not going to be in financial pain because of something that happened to me. Extremely powerful. So those are just some quick tips there to value selling. I know I'm running a little close to my time here, so I'm going to move on. If you have any questions about value selling, please let me know. Please reach out. We can walk through some examples. I've had a few agents reach out and we've done some product presentations together. That's been kind of fun. I love doing that. I love walking through, trying to explain how the product works with the client. So if you want to do that, feel free to reach out, training@ahcpsales.com. Again, that box goes right to me, so you don't have to worry about emailing a stranger there. And if you have any questions for next Motivation Monday, please feel free to email that. I've had some pretty good ones here. That's how I've gotten some of the material that I want to talk about. I want these to be important and useful to you, so feel free to reach out and say, hey, this is something I would like to have covered. More than happy to do that. So I thought we'd end with a quote here. Just successful salespeople consistently create and sell value rather than getting stuck on selling price. So again, one thing to keep in mind when you are selling this week, price is something you do not mention until you are all the way through the product presentation and your client agrees on that is exactly what they want. Then you can give them price. Hold off the price until you see the whites of their eyes, because guess what? If that is not what they want, you can stop and make those changes. So if you have any questions about that, please reach out. I am here to help you. I have a lot of things going on this week, but I'll make sure I set some time aside for you. Again, have a great week. If you have any questions, let me know. Happy Monday.